Teacher Talking Sports, what does, what do, how we live in. Nearly one quarter of the NFL has changed head coaches from the previous season. 7 head coaching vacancies were needed to be filled, and the last was filled once Kellen Moore officially joined the New Orleans Saints, was the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator. Of course, a Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator after this season. Well, The Athletic today posted an article entitled NFL Insiders Rank Best Head Coach Hires, Why Vrabel Tops List. So they polled 10 NFL personnel executives and coaches, asking them to assess each coach's fit and rank their top 5 hires. First place vote worth 5 points, second place vote worth 4, and so forth. So let's take a look at the results, and you guys can let me know if you agree with how the results panned out. So let's take a look. The top guys, so in parentheses, are the number of first place votes. So 9 of the 10 first place votes went to Mike Vrabel. Of course, joining his old stomping grounds, the New England Patriots, a team he was a linebacker for quite a long time. One of the great Patriot linebackers ever. Of course, did great work with the Tennessee Titans before they let him go. Should definitely change the culture. The one season with Gerard Mayo did not really pan out at all. So, we'll see how it goes. Patriots do have a lot of holes, but getting that number 1 wide receiver is key for Drake May. Could it be T. Higgins? The other first place vote went to Ben Johnson, former Detroit Lions offensive coordinator, now the Chicago Bears head coach. Of course, Caleb Williams. I would say a middling rookie season. They got off to a great start, then lost, maybe 10 games in a row before winning their final game. He's got weapons on offense. Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen's a free agent, but Cole Kmet's above average starting tight end. We'll see what Ben Johnson can do with that. A lot of mock drafts have them taking offensive linemen with their first round pick. And of course, Pete Carroll, 73 years old, but just such a well-respected head coach. Of course, won a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks, Legion of Boom days. A guy that commands respect. A lot of people believe Antonio Pierce was a bit over his head. Raiders, another team with a bunch of holes, but if they could fill some of them, they got a head coach that can definitely help them win games. Those are the top 3 of 7. Here's 4 through 6. So Aaron Glenn joining the Jets. Team that had Super Bowl aspirations and didn't even come close to being a postseason team. We've already heard some of the guidelines that Aaron Glenn and co expected of Aaron Rodgers if he wanted to return to the team. Now we know that Rodgers reportedly will not return to the Jets. Was the Lions defensive coordinator. Did a really good job, especially when the Lions had a boatload of injuries at the defensive end. Still kept them afloat. Unfortunately, a disappointing end in the postseason. But a former Jet nonetheless. Kellen Moore, a little surprised he finished this low in the voting. Moore, I think he had 2 fourth place votes, and 3 fifth place votes. Maybe voters were late on him, but, did quite the admirable job in Philly, of course, helping guide them to a Super Bowl win. Former NFL quarterback, standout in college. Saints, of course, well over the cap, kind of stuck with Derek Carr. Not really a guy who's going to guide you to a stellar season on his own, but I'm kind of a little surprised he's not a tad bit higher. And Liam Cohen was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator. There was a whole thing with him. Was he going to be the Jaguars head coach? Was he going to remain with the Buccaneers? In the end, he ended up joining the Jaguars as their head coach. Mentions in the article, and I'm not posting it because Athletic's behind a paywall, but it says one critic pointed to Cohen's lack of experience with the defense as a certain challenge as a first-time head coach. I mean, he wouldn't be the first guy who didn't necessarily have a lot of experience with one side of the ball. So, I'm not sure you could really dock him too much for that. And if you're well aware of how the coaching carousel went this offseason, dead last in the voting, Dallas Cowboys Brian Schottenheimer, a well-scrutinized head coaching hire by Dallas. Didn't go for the big names. Of course, his dad was a big name, Marty Schottenheimer. But he's a guy who was their offensive coordinator as they struggled this season, haven't done much in the postseason. A lot of people are surprised. Why would you move on from Mike McCarthy and then just move up his offensive coordinator? But there were voters that mentioned that maybe he's a bit underrated. One coach said he's a good coach. The team will improve. Previous to that was a offense coordinator with the Seattle Seahawks. One Russell Wilson was still pretty productive, but yes, a well-scrutinized head coaching hire, and it's really not all that surprising to see that he is dead last in the vote. But yes, anyhow, that's how the Athletic tiers the 7 new head coaches. At least according to the 10 people they polled. Do you agree with the results? I can't argue Mike Vrabel being number one. Excellent head coach. Was a little bit surprising he didn't land a head coaching job last offseason. Pete Carroll, yes, he's 73 years old, oldest head coach in the NFL. But I could definitely see the Raiders showing vast improvement, even if that's not quite postseason level. Definitely still need that quarterback position for the team after Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew didn't do much. But yeah, I'm not surprised that Schottenheimer did finish last in the voting. I'm not saying he's going to be a terrible head coach, but yes, we have seen how much that move has been panned. But anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend, subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.